Is it recording? You're recording. Okay, y'all. Welcome to the third and the last video of group 3. Oh, no, of the group Sportswear and Related. Um, Let me go ahead and take the attendance. Maria?
Here.
Okay. Dallas?
Here.
Lauren?
Here.
Brandon? Oh, Aaron?
Here.
Me? Here. Marcus?
Here.
Okay. So, the professor wanted us to discuss chapters 5, 6, 7, and HBR assignments titled The Big Bang, Case Study, and How Industries Change. If you guys want to choose something to talk about off the top, you guys can feel free to go ahead and start talking about something that you, or one of the ones that you like the most.
Real quick.
Nobody? Okay. I guess I'll just talk about chapter 5 then. So chapter 5 talked about the basic strategies. Basically, you have what's it called? Strategies that'll help you compete. And so it talked about five of those strategies. It went into depth, and I think they had talked about it in the previous chapters, but in chapter 5 it went into more detail about the 5 competitive strategies. The first one was a low cost strategy. So the company is always trying to go for the lowest cost. And then the second one was broad differentiation strategy, which is when they're trying to be different from other companies. The third one was focused low cost. So they focus on like a specific or a small group of people that like an audience that likes a certain product, maybe like say a car. A focused low cost maybe might be like a I don't know, maybe like a truck that it's a really cheap truck, so people that really like trucks might go for that truck and buy it. And then focused differentiation strategy was same thing. It focuses on a group of people, but it doesn't go for the cheapest cost. It tries to be different in how it's and how the product is. And then the last one that I talked about was the best cost provider strategy, which was a mix between the low cost and the differentiation. So trying to be somewhere in between is what I picked up from chapter 5. And let's see, there are, in order to be the best competitor, you need to have the lowest costs is something else that I also picked up too from that chapter. What else? There was different ways that you could enhance your competitive edge. So one of the things that it mentioned was that you could use technology to operate more efficiently. The second one, well, another one was you could use outsourcing to use outsourcing to lower costs, whether it be internal costs or external costs. You could use bargaining power against your suppliers. So maybe try to negotiate with them and see if they'll give you a cheaper cost for their supplies, and also trying to discover ways to better your productivity and lower your costs and compensation. Apart from that, let's see. I guess it went into more detail with each single strategy, but that was the big idea for chapter 5. And then chapter 6 started talking about how to strengthen your competitive position by let's what's it called? What does it say? Making strategic moves. So, for example, if you you should know when to be on the defense and when to be on the offense. So, knowing when to take defensive strategies and when to take defensive moves was a key to surviving, as opposed to knowing when to take offensive moves and to what's it called, beat other competitors or um, win against your competitors. Right. So chapter 6 focused on that, and it said that one of the ways you could offer or ways that you could have a competitive strategy would be to offer products that are good but that are at low cost. Um, be the first one to create new technology. I thought that was interesting too because it had its pros and cons and being its and making a new technology. And if you guys have something to add, please stop me because I'm just rambling. I don't want to take
Um,
hog the.
this chapter, I'm trying to look through all mine right now to make sure I even have the right chapter written on it.
Hmm.
But chapter 6 is the one they expanded the menu, right?
Yeah, let me see. I think so.
I
I
thought it
wrote
was
it.
that one on my
No,
age.
That's
chapter
right.
6 is case study. I think, and
Yeah, it's
then
like they said it expanded the menu. Which one is? I thought that was. I have it down to 6, and it might have been 7. I don't know.
Big
It's
Bang.
chapter 6.
Yeah,
It
Big
is
Bang. I
chapter 6.
wrote. Yeah, I
Yeah, the
wrote down chapter
Yokie.
6 as case
Yeah.
study.
Yeah, that's chapter 6, the expanded menu.
Wait, expand the menu?
That's not.
Chapter 5 is the Big
Oh,
Bang.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, case study, expand the menu. I just saw case study, but I forgot that the rest is called the menu, expand the menu too.
I can kind of skim through mine and just give
Mhm.
just a little summary, I guess. I had said how the case study is taught based on service marketing, retail management, MBA marketing, and it focuses on the success factors of restaurant businesses and customer expectations. And one of the main things was branding because branding determines the outcome, the future outcomes of a business. One of the things that they were struggling with when it came to like opening the new restaurant was doing like home delivery or just in restaurant eating, and they did surveys of customers, and customers preferred home eating, like home delivery. I mean, but this would kind of kill their image and kill the brand of their restaurant because their whole thing was like eggs. And by the time they got delivered to the customer, it would have lost taste. It would have been cold, like all that stuff. So they ended up deciding instead of just like getting rid of what made their restaurant to expand it.
Mhm.
I mean, it sounds kind of corny, but that's even though that's the title, but that's literally what they did was expand the menus for different things and which brought more customers in than before. So that's kind of what I wrote, like summarized from my HBR because they basically found their weaknesses, they worked on it, and then figured out how could they make themselves better to improve their brand, and that's what they ended up doing.
Yeah, and you're right on that too. They were trying to like, I guess, better themselves in a way. And what's it called? You said one of them was to, what's it called? Like give home delivery, like food delivery to their house. And then another thing they were looking at doing too was the son, I think his name was Vikram. He was trying to like expand, like open different restaurants in different locations with the dad. I wrote these little details down because I was like, it's gonna help me remember. Rahit, he was like the one that was like against opening other restaurants because he thought, well, let's focus on the ones that we have open already first instead of trying to make open other restaurants because then it might get too hectic. And the other thing that the son had mentioned too was like you said, expanding the menu because he thought that maybe they were losing customers that were probably getting bored of the same stuff because it was just eggs. But they were saying how the son was saying how they should add new things, like maybe I don't know, maybe adding something else that would attract new customers, because they felt like they were losing customers to KFC and other new Western restaurants that were coming into the what's it called? United Emirates. Yeah, United Emirates.
I feel like the son was more focused on the branding and the future outcome of the restaurant than the father. Because I guess like taking it out of context, it's kind of like he's old school. He already had these restaurants established, and now he's coming back to try to make those even more better. But the son was more focused on moving into something new that customers hadn't had before from their company as like already.
Yeah.
If y'all are done with chapter 6, I was just gonna go back to chapter 5 because we didn't really get into the HBR. I know you spoke
Mhm.
on like the chapter aspect.
Yeah.
Um,
Big Bang, right?
so yeah, that's
Mhm.
the Big Bang disruption. So basically, I just highlighted a few things that I put in my HBR. And for the definition, basically, the Big Bang disruption is simply an unexpected disruption within your company, business, project, etc. Usually comes from new investors, new people to an industry producing new products for lesser cost. Um, the Big Bang disruption brings impact for companies to learn and obtain rules of unconstrained growth, undisciplined strategy, and uncambered development. And also, one of the people who were really important with the Big Bang disruption was Clayton Chris. I have no idea how to say his last name. Christensen.
Mhm.
Creation of the disruptive innovation. So I guess that was a strategy that they put in movement to kind of pick up the slack from what the disruptions did to companies. But I know they were explaining that once your company is disrupted, it's really hard to come back from it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And an example it gave too was when it was talking about the pinball machines,
Hmm.
and it was saying how like at the time they were going down, but then they started going back up in sales, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden the new PlayStation came out and wiped it out.
Hmm.
So it
Yeah,
kind of
that's what
killed it.
I talked about as well. But
Hmm.
also with Amazon, I know it said Apple and Amazon being, hold on, was it Nasper that started? They tried to do the little books online,
Mm-hmm.
but then Amazon came and was able to pick up Kindles, which were better because they branded it better and they were able to, technology wise,
Hmm.
fix up the bug aspect that Napster had when they tried to create it.
Yeah. Yeah, you summarized it well too, because you mentioned like the undisciplined, the unconstrained, and the
Hmm.
unencumbered. I don't know if that's how you say it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Hmm. But yeah,
Um,
that's good.
and also one last thing, I don't want to sit on this too long. I know we have limited time, but I also put down believing that operational producing products, there is a strategy used by putting a product cycle into place to divide in stages, development and deployment and replacement. So I guess that means that's more so within your team to be able to replace people that are, I guess, becoming a burden to the team.
Mhm.
So I think that's where they were able to do better with their strategy, is when you see lack in the company, you know where it's coming from and you have to get quick to replace it with
Yeah,
something better.
yeah, that's good, Dallas. So that means we talked about chapter 5, 6, and then the HBR assignments for both of those. If anyone has something for chapter 7 or the HBR, the how industries change, feel free to jump in and comment on it.
Working on that now as we
I
speak.
know, I feel like chapter 7 is not like the levelization and like how
Oh wait, Brennan, can you guys hear her or no? Is it just me?
No, it's like your microphone is covered up.
Yeah, it's a little
Like
muffled.
it's muffled. It sounds
Mm-mm.
like you're in a fishbowl.
Yeah, it sounds like your people. You may have
Hold
to
on.
just do the speaker thing.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold on. Okay, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. I was saying like chapter 7 is more about globalization and about like how Donald Trump's presidency when he was a president, how affected like everything with the whole situation and like his norms and everything. And I just thought it was very interesting.
And that was just chapter 7. It wasn't the HBR, right? And does anyone else have anything for chapter 7?
I can go over like the four factors from chapter 7
Mm-hmm.
that they mentioned.
Oh shoot. No.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, all right, bet. Yeah, the four factors basically that shape a company's strategic foreign market is one is the degree in which they are important in cross-country differences in demographic, cultural, and market conditions. And number two, it was whether opportunities exist to gain a location-based advantage based on wage rates, worker productivity, inflation rates, energy costs, tax rates, and other factors that impact the cost structure. And three was the risk of adverse shifts in currency exchange rates. And four was the extent to which governmental policies affect the local business climate. And that
But
was one of the things that I took from chapter 7.
and Aaron, was there one thing that grabbed your attention the most?
Probably was the currency exchange rates, because a lot of countries their rates shift depending on the year and who's in office. Well, not in office, but who's in charge of the government and such like stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I guess we can talk about the financial ratios now too, since we've kind of discussed this and we're almost running out of time. Let me pull that up real quick. So this was just like all of our financial ratios put together into one Excel sheet, and to basically talk about or compare one another and see who's doing the best right now too. Um, in terms of gross profit margin, I'm assuming that the one that's doing the best right now is Lululemon, and then the worst is, it looks like it sticks. But yeah, do any of you guys know what this stands for? Have
Not
a
at
clue?
all.
No. Okay. Yes, I'm not sure too.
I was really going to say I'm surprised that my company is doing the best considering I have never seen anybody buy that stuff ever.
But it's pretty expensive. That's probably
That's what
why.
I'm saying. Like it's like
Yeah.
$80 for a pair of leggings. Like I really don't understand how it's doing better than Adidas.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I remember I got like this Sportswear, and
You
it was
sound
like
muffled again, Fernanda.
I feel like it's my AirPod, but then if I
Yeah.
take it off, I can hear you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember I got like this sports bra and I paid like $40 for it. And I was like, that's ridiculous. But it was cute. So it was worth it.
From Lululemons.
So I
Was
feel
it good?
like yeah, like I'm saying, like honestly, like it is expensive, but like the product is really good. Like it's worth it.
Differentiation.
Correct, yeah.
And then net income available for common margin. Gap is doing bad, and from what it looks like, and then Lululemon's doing the best. Yeah. Same thing there. And then for some reason, there's a lot that don't share the or don't do this. The professor was saying like this isn't the amount that what's it called? Uh like it's not the amount of money that's paid out in dividends, it's just comparing it um, to one another like year by year. So it'll show like this one is higher than this one and so forth. But some companies don't even share what how they paid out. And yeah, I guess that's it for us. Given that Zoom is about to run out too, is there anything else that any of you guys want to add to the uh the group video before we leave?
Just a quick question. What does the NAs mean? Like that came up on mine a lot too. Does that just mean there's like no information or?
Yeah, like they didn't provide anything.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And I can send this to you guys too if you want, just to see it. But yeah. But okay, I guess I'll stop the recording there. And yeah, thank you guys for coming to the meeting and putting your input and thought on what you thought about the chapters and the HPRs.
Do we
Okay.
do attendance again?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. You always remind me. I'm so grateful. Let me pull that up before the video ends again. Is it this one? Hope this one. Yep. Let me do it again. Let's see, that's the last one. Okay. Maria.
Yeah.
Okay. Dallas.
Here.
Lauren.
Here.
Brandon. Aaron.
Here.
Okay. And me. Marcus. Marcus. Oh, he's gone. Well, he's there. I'll just put him there. Okay. Yeah, there he is. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, have a good night, and thank you for making this video possible.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye bye. Let's see. Pause.